Welcome to the Lori Robertson podcast, where I guide entrepreneurs and business leaders towards lasting success in their business. I am your host, Lori Robertson, and today we're tackling a topic I'm sure many of us can relate to: procrastination. Yep, that sneaky little habit that creeps up on you when you know you have work to do, but suddenly organizing your sock drawer seems a little bit more important. In today's episode, we're going to talk about: are you a procrastinator? Understanding what procrastination is, blah, and why you're procrastination. Why are you procrastinating? Why you're stuck, and 5 actionable steps to overcome it. Now, let's get real. Everyone procrastinates at some point. But if you find yourself constantly pushing off important tasks, missing deadlines, or feeling overwhelmed because you just can't get started, then this episode is for you. So let's dive in. Okay, let's start with the basics of what procrastination is. Procrastination isn't just laziness or lack of motivation, it's the act of delaying tasks that we know we need to get done. Even when we know the negative consequences, we still hesitate. Why? I am the biggest procrastinator on the planet. Yes, I said it. It's not something that I'm proud of, but I am. So this episode is for me as well as it is for you. And when I went and looked up what it was, and it just was like, you know what? I need to share this because this can help me as well. Well, procrastination usually boils down to avoiding discomfort. It's not about being lazy. It's about dodging things that feel too hard, too boring, or too stressful. When we procrastinate, we often trick ourselves into believing that the future us will somehow handle things better. Does that sound like you? Because it definitely sounds like me. Now, here's the thing: future you isn't going to suddenly be a productivity machine, right? You're going to feel the same way when that deadline is looming, maybe even worse. So, you have to ask yourself, because I ask myself the same thing, like, why are you procrastinating? Like, why am I? Okay, so why do we do this? Why do we put things off we know are important? And there are several reasons. One is perfectionism. So when I shoot these off to you, just think about, do any of these fit you? Okay, you think, if I can't do it perfectly, I shouldn't do it at all. This mindset can paralyze you. Number two, fear of failure. Sometimes the idea of not succeeding is so terrifying that we rather avoid the task altogether. I'm raising my hand, guys. That's me. Overwhelm. You look at the task and think it's too big, too complicated, or you don't know where to start. Sometimes that's me. Distractions. We live in a world full of distractions, and it's easy to let social media, TV, or even chores become more appealing than the work you need to do. That is me sometimes, so I do shut off my social media. I do put my phone on mute because I know once I stop working and I'm on the phone chit-chatting it away, I'm not going to get back to the task that I was doing because I don't feel like it. I know, but that's me. And number five, the lack of structure. If you don't have a plan, it's easy to let tasks slip through the cracks because there's no urgency. Now, does any of this sound familiar? But you know what? Let's not beat ourselves up about it. Instead, let's focus on some solutions. So before I get into some actionable steps, let me go back over this one more time. One of the reasons is perfectionism. Think about it. Is that you? Number two, the fear of failure. Are you scared that you're going to fail at whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish? Number three, are you overwhelmed? Are you doing too much? Number four, do you have distractions, social media, the TV, the phone? And number five, a lack of structure. Do you have a plan? You don't think there's anything that's urgent? So those are the 5 things that we do, or why we are procrastinating. Okay, so let that sink in for a bit. So now we're going to talk about the 5 actionable steps to overcome procrastination. All right, now for the good stuff. How do you stop procrastinating and start taking action? Here are the 5 steps that you can start using today. Number one, break it down into smaller tasks, right? One of the biggest reasons we procrastinate is because a task feels too big or too overwhelming. The solution? Break it into smaller, manageable pieces instead of thinking, I need to finish this entire project. Think, what's the first step I can take? Even if it's just 10 minutes of work, getting started creates momentum. Now, I know for me and my business, I procrastinate a lot because I have all of these ideas that run through my head every single day. Some of them I write down, some of them I don't. But then when I get to the one, aha, this is what I'm going to do. I sit down, I think about it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do that in order for it to, all come together. And I'm thinking, I want to hurry up and get this done because it's so valuable. It's in my head. I'm so excited that I excite myself out of doing it. You know what I mean? So this right here is awesome for me, breaking it down into smaller tasks. And I find when I do that, I actually get more done. So I try to now like write things down, and this is so cool because once I decided in my head, and actually I just decided this, and these things, the universe is just flowing ideas to me on how to do it. So I wrote down my daily mode of operation, right? And I decided to break down what I needed to do every single day in my business, whether it's doing this podcast, whether it's doing my content, whether it's promoting it on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or where it is that I want to do. I decided to write it down. So that's a thing. Write it down. Pick which day you're going to do what, pick what time you're going to do it, and then, block things off. So number two, set deadlines. This one key, right? There's just one key. Set a clear deadline, even if it's self-imposed, and not just a general deadline, like by the end of the month. Make it specific. For example, I will finish the first draft by Tuesday at 3 p.m. Deadlines create urgency and help eliminate that I'll do it later mindset. So that's what I was just saying. I wrote down, okay, this is what I'm going to do on Mondays, right? And then I wrote down, okay, on Monday, I'm going to do this by this time, this by that time, Tuesday by this time, right? So I made it a clear and definite deadline for each day on each task that I wanted to complete, whatever I needed done for my business. Number three, use the 5-minute rule. Commit to working on the task for just 5 minutes. That's it. If after 5 minutes you feel like stopping, you can. But more often than not, once you get started, you'll keep going. The hardest part is usually just getting into motion. And that is so cool. What I did was I think I set myself a 10-15 minute timeline. But if it's still a little too daunting for me, I'm gonna go back and do 5 minutes. So that's what I suggest for you, to start this off with just 5 minutes, and you're gonna see the difference in what you can accomplish. Number four, eliminate distractions. This right here, I'm telling you, is the best thing because, hey, I have distractions all over the place. But turn off your notifications. I just did that before I started to record this episode because I record on my phone. So every time I record on my phone, I always get these beeps. Somebody's either calling, somebody's texting, or some type of notification from social media. So I turned those off. So that's great. And then the next thing, put your phone on silent. That's exactly what I did. I silenced it so I won't have any distractions. And create a workspace that's free of distractions. If you're serious about getting things done, you need to eliminate the temptations that pull you away from your work. And if you've been listening to my podcast for any time now, a few of my podcasts, the airplane flies overhead and it total distracts me. So I said to myself, Laura, why are you doing this, during this time frame, right? Like now, it was so funny. I can hear a train. I don't know if you can hear it, but in the background, I can hear a train. I don't hear trains this time of morning. It's so funny to me how either I'm not paying attention or because it could have been happening and I just wasn't listening. But I'm like, okay, you know that the planes fly overhead between 5, 6, maybe close to 7 o'clock. Stop recording episodes during that time. But the reasons why I was doing it because it's early, it's quiet, and I don't have any distractions. But then I had to think, either Laura, you're gonna have to get up a little bit earlier than 5, 6 o'clock, or you need to do it after. So I opted to do it a little earlier because after my day is planned, and usually between 7 and 8, I send out emails. I get my day started, plan of what it is that I'm going to do, and then around between 8 8:30, 9 o'clock, I finish up my tasks so that I can get on my mastermind call, my Grow Rich Mastermind call, which I get on every morning at 9 a.m. So the takeaway from that is just to eliminate any distractions that you have so that you can complete your task. That one's definitely for me. Number 5, practice self-compassion. We're often harder on ourselves than anyone else. Instead of beating yourself up for procrastinating, acknowledge that it happens and that it's okay. I had to do that for myself. Now, guys, I know you can hear that train in the back. This is so funny to me. But anyway, you see how it throws me off, right, with a distraction? But the key is not to get stuck in the cycle of self-blame. When you're kind to yourself, it's easier to pick up and keep moving forward. So please remember, be kind to yourself. You know, acknowledge it happens. It always happens. You're human, okay? And there you have it. 5 steps that can help you break free from procrastination. So let's recap them real quickly. Number 1, break big tasks into smaller steps. Number 2, set specific deadlines. Number 3, use the 5-minute rule. Break that stuff down, guys. Number 4, eliminate distractions. Turn off that social media. Turn your phone off. Practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. And I just want to let you know that procrastination is normal, but it doesn't have to control your life. The good news is that once you understand why you're procrastinating, you can take intentional steps to overcome it. Remember, it's about progress and not perfection. So get that out of your head, you perfectionists. Even small steps in the right direction can make a huge difference. So this podcast I absolutely love because it speaks to me, my soul. It speaks to me, oh my God, in so many different ways. And I hope that if you are a procrastinator just like me, I hope that this episode was helpful. And if you enjoyed today's episode and found it helpful, make sure you share it with someone who could benefit from it. And if you've gotten any tips or strategies that help you beat procrastination, I'd love to hear them from you. All right? You can leave me a comment. I'm going to, leave a poll. So I want you to answer that poll and let me know if you're a procrastinator. Let me know, what it is that you did to beat procrastination in the gut. Okay? So thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Until next time, keep moving forward and take it one step at a time. You've got this, right? Take care, and I will see you in the next one.